The sun drops below the grassland and the heat rises off the red earth in slow shimmering waves. Somewhere beneath a scrub of dry grass, a small mound of dirt marks the entrance to a burrow, round, dark, unremarkable. But inside, 5 downy chicks huddle together, blinking against the fading light, waiting for a parent that hasn't returned. This is the world of the burrowing owl, a bird that does something almost no other owl on Earth does. It lives underground, standing barely 9 inches tall with long, stilt-like legs and a head that swivels with constant nervous curiosity. The burrowing owl looks almost like a cartoon of itself. It doesn't perch in the treetops. It doesn't glide silently through a forest canopy. It walks. It bobs. It disappears into tunnels dug by badgers, prairie dogs, or its own sharp talons. And right now, something is moving through the grass toward that tunnel entrance. Something low. Something silent. Something with no legs at all. A snake is hunting. And it knows exactly what's waiting inside that burrow. If the secret world of owls fascinates you, stick around and hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more hiding in the dark. The female owl isn't home. She's out in the open field, working the last light of dusk, snapping up grasshoppers and beetles disturbed by the cooling air. The male is somewhere nearby too, delivering insects to the tunnel mouth every few minutes. But for one long stretch, the burrow sits unguarded. Inside, the chicks sense it first. A vibration. A faint scraping against packed earth. Something is coming down the tunnel toward them, and it isn't a parent. For most baby birds, this would be the end of the story before it even begins. A snake sliding into a nest of small, defenseless chicks usually means one thing. But burrowing owl chicks carry a trick passed down through generations. A trick built entirely on sound. Cornered in the dark, unable to fly, unable to fight with talons too small to matter, the chicks do something extraordinary. They begin to hiss. Not a simple hiss. A buzzing, rattling vibration produced deep in the throat, timed and pitched with uncanny precision. To human ears, it sounds unsettling. To a predator moving through a tunnel in near total darkness, it sounds exactly like a rattlesnake coiled and ready to strike. This is called acoustic mimicry. A small, featherless mouth, borrowing the voice of one of the most feared animals in the grassland, and it works often enough that evolution kept it around. Here's the part almost no one realizes. This hissing defense didn't appear by accident. It's the product of an evolutionary relationship that runs surprisingly deep between owls and snakes, and it explains far more than just the chick's warning call. Burrowing owls didn't dig most of their own homes. They moved into tunnels abandoned by prairie dogs, ground squirrels, badgers, even tortoises. Sharing that underground world with countless other creatures meant sharing it, at times, with rattlesnakes too. Real ones, dangerous ones, coiled in the cool dark just a few feet from a nest of chicks. Over countless generations, the owls that survived were the ones whose young could convincingly imitate that sound. A predator approaching in total darkness relies almost entirely on hearing and vibration. It cannot see the small, soft body making the noise. All it processes is the signal, and the signal says rattlesnake. Most animals, even skilled hunters, choose not to test that warning. But the burrow isn't just a place of danger. It's also a place the owls actively shape for their own defense. Male owls line the tunnel entrance with scraps of material. Dried dung, torn cloth, bits of debris, and researchers who've studied these decorated burrows have found a surprising purpose behind it. The dung attracts insects, which the owls can then hunt right at their own doorstep. But it may also do something else. It masks the scent trail leading to the nest, making it harder for a scent-tracking predator to zero in on defenseless young. Every piece of this burrow, the tunnel depth, the decorated entrance, the timing of parental visits, even the pitch of a chick's warning hiss, is a layer of defense built over generations against exactly this moment. A predator, in the dark, deciding whether to keep moving forward. If you're enjoying this journey into the night, a quick like helps more people discover it. Back in the burrow, the standoff hangs in the balance. The hissing rises from the huddled chicks, sharp and buzzing in the confined tunnel, and for a long moment nothing moves. Then outside, the male owl returns. He lands hard at the entrance, insect still gripped in his beak, and immediately senses something is wrong. His body stiffens. He calls, a sharp, territorial note, and begins pacing the mound above the burrow, wings half spread, eyes locked on the tunnel opening. Whether the intruder retreats because of the chick's rattlesnake mimicry, or because it senses the returning adult, or simply because the passage narrows too much to continue, the outcome plays out the way it does countless times across the grasslands every breeding season. The danger passes, and the tunnel falls quiet again. This single encounter is a small piece of something much larger. Burrowing owls face habitat loss across much of their range. Grasslands converted to farmland, natural burrows bulldozed, the badgers and prairie dogs that dig their homes disappearing from the landscape. Every successful defense, every chick that survives to leave the nest matters more than it once did. As night fully settles over the field, the parents resume their rounds, hunting, returning, feeding, standing guard. The chicks, still trembling slightly from the encounter, settle back into their huddle. Somewhere out in the grass, the snake continues on, searching for an easier meal. And underground, 5 small owls have just survived their first real lesson in what it takes to make it in this world. Not with claws, not with speed, but with a sound borrowed from their most feared neighbour. Which owl behaviour surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments, and follow along, because the night always has another secret waiting.